nature. Look at our nature right now. We are, at one level, we are animals with instincts, right? On another level, we are personalities with identity. Right? You say, I am this, I am that. So, whoever I believe I am, I believe, or I know myself to be, I know myself as being a doctor, or I know myself to be a politician, or I know myself to be a priest, I know myself to be an artist, I know myself to be a married man, a father, you know, or a mother. I know myself, whatever I say after I am becomes my identity. I'm an owner of the land.
So whatever you say after I am is actually a lie, if you look at it deeply. Because
so that's how identity is constructed, of all these different identities, right?
Yeah.
So you have this identity,
If the identity is truly a falsehood, if it's a false self, if it's our mental construct, therefore you can say that whatever we say after I is kind of in some sense a lie. To say, you know, and that's actually,
it's a concept.
Listen, it's so freeing. When I think about that, it just clicks. It's just what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you say I am good, even that is a selfish thought. It's just as bad as saying I am bad. Saying, when you say I am anything, I'm sorry. You know, it's the ego talking. Because what you're essentially doing, you're separating yourself from others. And I feel like we're here to unite, not to separate. And I think that's really the only reason to be alive, is to create the unity that we, you know, that game that we're here to play. It's really a game of unity. That's what we're here for. That's why we, you know, symbolically came from heaven, bite that apple to gain this experience. Otherwise, everything was fine the way things were. What's this human consciousness doing here? Is to go through this, you know, this crazy experience with other human beings, to unite, to create, you know, something that a so-called meaning of life. So I'm just saying, it's just a lie to say that I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian, because that makes the other people not a Muslim or a Christian. That makes them separate from me, that makes them different. Oh, they're weird because they're not this or that, they're not what I am, then they don't look like me, or they're not practicing what I practice, or they don't believe what I believe.
But all of it, the process of forming identity is rooted in fear. See? Fear demands certainty. Uncertainty experienced as something unwanted and something threatening, right? So the conceptualization process is designed by evolution to make us feel safe and secure. You see what I'm saying? But the cost of it is a tribalism, is a separation, right? So we need to find a way of uniting without conceptualization. So we need to break through conceptualization activities of the mind. So the concept would be there for us
For practical purposes.
for practical purposes.
To build a
right?
bridge, a hospital.
But concepts and false identity would not run our life. So we formed that false identity, which caused, from childhood, a child started forming, as child is introduced to
fear,
to a concept of becoming, becoming, accomplishment becomes because of fear, a child is just not left alone.
because children have no fear initially.
Yeah.
They're so free.
And the joy.
They want to run and
Yeah.
Jump off a cliff if you let them.
And the
because they have no
joy.
fear.
And the joy of a child, you see.
They have joy. They have no fear. They have openness. They have freedom.
So the joy and the fullness of life, feeling the mystery and bewilderment of being alive and wanting to play, and, and the joy of it. And so basically it's a paradise. Child's in the paradise. So as child
Children are in paradise.
as child is growing up, it's a departure from paradise. Now the invention of time is enforced upon child.
Upon
The past,
upon the child.
just the creation of the past and the future because of way of controlling a child and making sure the child will be able to function in the world which is largely conceptual and
Unlimited.
and dysfunctional, right? World is functioning, the functionality of the world is rooted in dysfunction. It is dysfunctioning world because it's based in fear.
The fear.
So the child is introduced to the concepts which create a future where he supposedly will accomplish something. In the future, he has to become somebody. Becoming somebody. And that's why you have teenage crisis, because the teenager now at the point started questioning, have I
become what?
Have I become
supposed to?
somebody? Am I somebody now, finally, which I'm supposed to be?
And guess what? That continues. It did with me way into the 20s.
Yeah, so going back to
Especially
the
the
science.
late 20s.
So the last part for today, the place where we are right now is a very similar to the place where the caveman was when he first drew animals on the wall of a cave. And when he first created a first tool to function in a different way, just except gathering fruits
Hunters
and berries.
and gatherers,
Yeah, but actually
Child inventors.
to function on another level. Tools were created and art was created, right? And the fear, existential fear of dying was created because now the future was created. As concept, as we created language, we automatically created future. As we created future, we created death in the future. As we created death in the future, we created existential fear. As we created existential fear, now we have to create a religion which would contain that fear, so we can function. So that's why we look at it, all these magnificent temples all around the world, and they're all not directly related to actual functioning, right? You create pyramids. What is that? All this human activity have created a pyramid
But the
out of
cathedrals
stone.
with their stained glass, they're supposed to instill some sort of
there's no
supernatural experience.
Yeah, the cathedral, but all of it is to dealing with that fear which created out of conceptualization, out of the mental process, out of our identity, to contain our identity. See, our identity constantly generates fears. Now we have to contain those fears. So now, at the level where we are right now, on our awakened level, now, first of all, throughout this program, I'm just riding a wave of consciousness. I'm not thinking, I'm not rationalizing. I just look at everything. I'm just witnessing it. I'm witnessing my own self. I'm witnessing my false self. I'm seeing what it is. I'm seeing my mind.
Your mental construct.
I'm seeing my mental construct. I'm seeing my identity. And I'm seeing the science of the world and where it is right now as a scientist. And I'm saying what we need to do today. We need to take a mind's knife, the knife which minds.
Oh, the Mayans.
The Mayans were
Yes.
carving out the heart of the sacrifice. Right?
Of their sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Of
the
the
Mayan. So this is the
sacrifice.
Mayan knife. It's actually a Mayan knife. It's truly a Mayan knife that the Mayans were, such as the Mayans were. Not this particular one, hopefully not. But this is such a tool that they were using to carve out the heart of their sacrifice, because they were sacrificing people, unfortunately, to the gods that they believed in.
So I suggest that we take this mind's knife and carve out the heart of science. The heart of science is logic and reason. It no longer serves humanity. If we will carve out heart of science, it doesn't mean that logic and reason will disappear. But it will no longer be the heart. The heart must become the awareness.
Must become awareness of
The awareness.
the big picture.
The awareness of consciousness. The awareness of consciousness. We are done with the sleeping awareness of science that created nuclear bombs, that
And still
created
creates
biological
wars. And they're
weapons,
still creating wars.
that supports all the weapons of war. We are done with that.
The same military
As
industrial complex.
humanity, we must become present to who we are. And as we become present to who we are, as we carve out the reason and logic, as inadequate heart for humanity to move us forward, we are transplanting the heart of awareness into the body of science. Just like Sakharov, academic Sakharov did to himself. The science as a whole must do it to itself.
He carved out his logical heart and replaced it with a heart of consciousness.
And we see it, that gross materialism, which started in the 16th century and persisted, creating enormous amount of problems for humanity, creating 2 world wars, creating worldwide poverties and hunger, and horrible economies that are on roller coaster, impoverishing the poorest people of the world, and creating dysfunctional medicine, which is pharmacological industries that are driven by sense of profitability rather than
consciousness, and the main priority is profitability.
So most of the problems today are driven by profitability, right?
Everything.
Even the way
Especially the military industrial complex,
but it's just part.
pharmaceutical industry, agriculture industry. There's not one industry that you can name that is not run by profitability, and it's all because.
So let us all continue in this process. Let us bring the awareness, the mirror for the mind. Let's expose our false identity in the way that it will be the metamorphosis has to happen to our consciousness. Our consciousness must awaken. And the rat race of the science and technology must be placed in perspective of who we truly are and what is a truly harmonious life for human beings on earth, and how we can create together life that works for everyone.